YouTube, how's it going? Retro Dave back again, and this is going to be a video response to Chris Novabug. I don't do very many video responses, to be honest. I kind of struggle to find the time to make my own videos, let alone do video responses, but I really wanted to do this one, and it has been really hard to choose the games. So basically the VR is for a new series Chris is doing, which is Foursome Friday, or Friday Foursome rather. So basically, like, I think last time you had to choose your 4 favourite controllers, which somehow I kind of missed altogether, and I think a few other people said the same thing. But I've seen this one come up in the feed, and basically saying you had to choose your 4 basically most cherished games of all time. The games that, when you think about the system, or you think about that game, or that one game for the system you think of first, you know, it's kind of, oh my god, you think of the system, you think that game, if that makes any sense. Basically that's what you've got to pick. And I'll tell you what, I kid you not, I've probably spent about half an hour like really thinking, what can I pick? It's so hard just to pick 4. So you can't pick more than one game for the same system, so you have to pick a different game, and it's so hard for all the systems I've ever played, and it's just really tough. But I've really knuckled down. I thought, right, I've got to make a decision. It's getting late. What's it now? It's fucking, I'm at midnight, I think. So let's say you off, fucking roasting. I've really struggled making this decision. It's been really tough, and it's just making me think, oh. But anyway, I've made a decision. I've got my favourite 4. So, and I'm going to do them in kind of like ascending order from the first experience up to the more recent. So the first game I can't actually show you physically because I don't own it anymore, and that is Oh Mummy for the Amstrad CPC 464. I remember the first time I ever saw that game was around my uncle's house, and I played it, and the artwork, I was just like, wow, the artwork's great on the cover. I'll have to try and insert this or add it onto the end of this clip and kind of show you what it looks like. But I love the artwork on the case, really love the artwork, and the soundtrack of the game is really catchy, and just the game, I just love the game. Every time I think of that system, I think of that game. And then when I got a Spectrum myself, it also came on the Spectrum, but the Spectrum was, you know, in a more inferior version. The soundtrack wasn't, it sounded very similar, but it was not as, what's the word for it? It was a lot more like monotone. Does that make sense? It was not kind of, you Google it, you'll see. Just search on YouTube and you'll see what I mean. You compare the two, and the sprites were not as good. So the Amstrad version, when you walked, you left footprints, and your actual person was a little person, whereas on the Spectrum version, I think you were just like a little face, if I remember right. You weren't even look like a person. It was really strange, and the mummies looked like yellow blobs with faces on. They look like spiders, but in the Amstrad version, they're actual like mummies walking around, you know, their arms out, and leaving footprints, and it's really, I just love that game. I really love that game. But yeah, I'm going to try and add that in somewhere in this video, whether I can make it appear or it'll kind of jump in as I shut up. But yeah, Oh Mummy for the Amstrad CPC 464 would be game number 1 of my most cherished games. And yeah, I would like to play it again sometime, but that's probably emulator or something. Emulation. Okay, and I'm moving on now to the NES, and many of you already are going to know exactly what I'm going to hold up now. This game, you got the classics, you got Mario and everything else, but you know, that's the obvious, you know. But for me, my personal most cherished game, of the most fond memories, my most played game has to be Gremlins 2. I've harped on about this game for fucking 2 years on YouTube. Every time I mention NES, this game is mentioned. Long-term viewers will, you know, realise that. But yeah, I really love this game. I first played this around my cousins, used to visit my auntie, uncle and cousins, and I always went to play this game. I never had it originally, and I love the film. That's how it all started. The film, played the game, I thought, oh my god, this game is amazing. The soundtrack, just, I don't know, I mean, some people might not like it or they never played it, I don't know, but for me personally, it was just all about this game. And wherever they come to visit, they always used to bring like a few Nintendo games with them, and this is one of them. And I always used to, you know, can I borrow it? And if they run off to the park across the road, we used to live opposite a park. Then my brother and my cousins would run off to the park, and I'd stay in for 20 minutes, have a quick blast on this, then catch them up. I was so excited to play it. And I remember one Christmas, my mum actually got me this, and it was a second hand in a video game shop in town. And I never even knew she had it, and I opened it up and I was just like, it was like the best Christmas present that year. I was so made up. She knew how much I wanted this game, and when she saw it and got it for me, yeah, it meant so much. And to this day, it is my favourite, most cherished Nintendo NES game, and that is Gremlins 2. Okay, so next system, I've decided to stick with Nintendo, and I then obviously progressed onto the Super Nintendo from my NES, and I got the Mario All-Stars console bundle, and I got 2 games with it at the same time for my birthday. The first game was F-Zero, and that was the first Super Nintendo game I ever played. That was the first game I put in and tried. Now the reason I did that is because the other game I got, I thought I'm going to favour that one kind of more. So I wanted to play the game I thought I wouldn't like as much. And that sounds really crazy. You know, you like, save the best till last. That's kind of how I looked at it. I'll try F-Zero, and it's really good. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic game. But I wanted to kind of play that one first and then play this one. And this game, when I think of Super Nintendo, if anyone says to me Super Nintendo, the first game that pops into my mind is this one, and it's my most cherished Super Nintendo title, and it's an ultimate classic, and that is Mario Kart. And of course it has to be the PAL version, the blue box and all that. You know, I've already got the USA one, but this is for me the ultimate Super Nintendo title. It's just classic, and I'm sure many of you agree that the Super Nintendo version, sorry, the Super Nintendo Super Mario Kart is just the definitive Super Nintendo game, arguably. But I love this game, and I think this is the game on the SNES I've sunk the most time into. I've probably played this game the most. You know, same with Gremlins. You know, this is kind of the Super Nintendo game that is essential to own if you have the system, in my opinion. So yeah, that's enough going on about that now. So number 3, Super Mario Kart. Okay, now last up, obviously moving on from that generation, I specifically remember trading in, stupidly, I kept all my stuff in mint condition. So my Super Nintendo console was lovely packaged up, all in its wrappers, pile of mint condition box Super Nintendo games. It's just, it pains me to even think. Like, again, Mario Kart, the Zelda, all the top games that people would cry to have now. I had some really nice games, and the condition. Anyway, I think back now because it's crazy, but I remember going to the game shop and I traded it all in. I took the whole lot in and I traded it all for PlayStation 1. Now at the time, I was made up to think I'm getting the latest tech. You know, I'm going to get this PlayStation 1. It's going to be the best system, because that's where I ditched the N64, Nintendo. Sorry, I didn't bother with N64. I went straight to PlayStation. Just, you know, graphics, sound. Yeah, I thought PlayStation was the way to go. So anyway, I traded all my stuff in to get the PlayStation. Now I got the PlayStation for a couple of reasons. Now, one big reason was because I love my racing games, and as a kid I always wanted to have games where you could crash and do damage to the car and stuff, because there's nothing like that. You know, when you're playing like Mario Kart, it was kind of fun and cartoony and this, that, the other, but I really wanted, like, because I was really into my banger racing and into, like, you know, I used to shred my toy cars to make them look all smashed up and stuff like that. And when these games came out on the PlayStation 1, I thought, wow, this is it. You know, this is banger racing on a home console that I can play. And yeah, I loved it straight away. And again, I played this at my cousin's house, the same cousin that had Gremlins 2. So I went to go and visit them. I always used to be first up in the morning from all the family. I'd come down, they'd let me turn on the PlayStation, and I'd play this game for a good hour and a half, 2 hours before they even got up. I loved it that much. And that game is Destruction Derby 2. So this is my most cherished game number 4 on its original PlayStation. Yeah, I love this game. Yeah, it's just fantastic. The soundtrack, the gameplay, and I still now love to play it, even if I've got a spare half an hour. If I can't be bothered to put the Nintendo on, which I know is quite hard to believe, but I really do like this game. I'm not saying I don't think I've actually fully completed it, have I? If I have, it's been many years ago. I tend to just put it on and get promoted off the first wave, play it a bit the second one, and turn it off. For me, that's enough. I'll play it for about half an hour to an hour, but just, yeah, this for me was just the reason to trade in my Super Nintendo was to get a PlayStation 1 in this game. And this was the first game I ever bought. I remember going and buying it from Choices Video when they were around, and I bought Destruction Derby 2 and Toka touring cars, the first Toka touring cars, because my cousin had that, and I remember playing that, and that used to be great fun. But yeah, for me, it was all about Destruction Derby 2. It was basically my dream come true, banger racing on a home console where you're actually driving around and you can smash into things. Yeah, so for me, it's that one. So 4 games: Oh Mummy, Gremlins 2, Mario Kart, Destruction Derby 2. And trust me, it was really hard to narrow it down. There's so many others that I could have potentially picked, and it was really tough. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm glad that, you know, Chris, you've come up with some ideas people do video responses to. I'm looking forward to the next ones. But guys, please go and check out Novabug's channel. Feel free to do a response. Go and watch the video. See if you can find your 4 most cherished games. And for that, guys, I'm going to leave it now. I'm sweating next to this heater. I'm going to put these games back, and I'm going to start playing some games myself. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in soon.